all parts of the rainbow, all walks of life, nationalities, folks from abroad, folks from Asia, Jamaica, China, Japan, Taiwan, Puerto Rico, Mexico, okay, all been hit. But they see us all as one. You know what I mean? But what's wrong with us? Why is it separatism? So we played a little politics in it because obviously what things have been going on between the Congress and him getting things done, you know, with the debt ceiling and everything else. But he took that moment to say that, which was so true because, you know, this is what I liked about yesterday, Doreen, was that people came together of all races, all nationalities, and they felt each other's wounds and they gave each other a hug. And it was just a beautiful thing to do. I just wish we could do this in everyday life because all the bills and everything that get passed, the social programs, everything, there's people out there hurting. We saw people hurting, but in all actuality, when this is all said and done, this is over. That's one day, one moment. But in our society today, there are people hurting, but yet there are people that are in politics, but in particularly Congress, the Speaker of the House. They don't see that. They see us divided. They don't see us together. And so when Obama came out, Doreen, and made that point, I was going, good for you. You're out of character, but I think a lot of people have a lot more respect. Americans, white, black, people, the rainbow, Asian, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Haitian, Mexican, everybody. They saw this, Europeans, they saw this moment that it was a moment of strength in the words that he said. How do you feel about that?
Well, for me, it always is a nice thing to see unification because whenever there is trouble, whenever there is sorrow, whenever there is heartache, we as a country always do seem to come together. But the sad part is, the next day, it's almost as if it didn't happen. Because we walk down the street and we look at each other and then we size each other up and we just say comments to each other. And I wish I knew what that is, but I think it's what I said earlier. I think a lot of factors in life, we have never had closure. We have our ancestors and our family reminding us about things that happened 500, 600, 700 years ago. And then we put that anger into us and we blame everybody for everything instead of blaming ourselves.
Right, which is wrong. Which
so
is the wrong thing
that is, but in that moment, even when the Trade Center blew up, in that moment, we forget everything that's around us. And we can only concentrate on that one tragedy.
So do you think like after the 9/11 tragedy happened, like citizens here is more concerns each other?
You mean are we more united?
Right.
Are people more united?
Right.
No.
Do you think so?
No, I don't.
No.
Because she just said for the moment.
So,
For the moment was a key word.
For the moment.
For the moment.
For the moment, like a memorial. Like,
Yeah, for the moment.
For the moment.
For that moment. For that moment, people like you, me, and her come together. An Asian woman, a black Afro-American woman, and a black Afro-American man, and a Japanese keyboard player. We come together like we come together in harmony. And then we come together on this show, Scope, to do this show, because we think it's totally necessary, because this is what the society is all about. But what you see in front of you is what this image that we're projecting here right now, I and my friends too, watching on the worldwide internet as well, is it, you see right here is what America is going to, what Obama loves, what Obama represents. There's a poignant picture in the Metro. Do I get the newspaper here with me? I got the newspaper here somewhere. And there's a picture here of paper, Doreen. I was looking at. This I think is a picture of the month. They say it is so beautiful. Get your Metro newspaper. And I had this. Now look at that. Now just look at that picture. Look at the young girl. Look at Obama. Look at his wife. Look at the other gentleman. Look at the whole background.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. This is America. This is the president of the United States. This is why people don't like this guy, because he believes in harmony and unity, which you talked about, which me and Doreen said only lasts for that one day. And we all reality. Not everybody is like that, but this is how we do as people. For some reason or another, we can't seem to come together as a whole, because we could make such a difference. We could solve hunger, we could solve AIDS. We're working on cancer all the time. Things that hit everybody, but it hits the elitist folks in that circle real heavy. That's why it gets so heavily funded. I hate to say it, because, and I love what the Red Sox do, WEI and everything. It's great. It's a beautiful thing continue, but you know, it's about who it hits, it's about class and where the money goes and everything. But there's a lot of people living in shelters, living outside. They don't get any resources from anybody. Nobody really cares about the young woman or the babies dying from AIDS that's shaking Boston City Hospital and Boston Medical and the Cambridge Medical. See, I was a former correction officer, and I used to go, my aunt used to work in the ward in the Boston Medical with the babies, holding them and everything, making sure they were all true. And I used to walk through there purposely when I was guarding an inmate. I used to always walk through just to look at the babies in the window. I couldn't touch them because I'm a man of feeling, but I used to look at them, let them know I was there. And I think they really felt me looking at them, feeling I was there.
And I also want to make a good point too, that when I say lack of unity, I do not only necessarily mean a racial between black, white, or whatever. There is a lot of lack of unity within own race groups.
Oh, yeah.
Because I believe even with 9/11, a lot of black people came together. They were there, they bonded, they unified to help each other. And then after everything was said and done, even there was a split in that situation. So that's why I say that when I say it, I speak across the board, not just in one particular.
But you know something very interesting that you say that when you say across the board and you look at it. Like the blacks, you said you have your conservative blacks, you have your moderate blacks, and then you have your liberals. The conservative blacks always like share their own elite pie. They have their own pie. They're sort of like what the fashionable thing is to do, what we've been dealing with, the fashionable thing, which Obama's attacking, which is little things of socialism. His little traits of socialism that he uses to his advantage, that he believes in, and that he's attacking. And so it makes it very interesting. So that's why blacks always work against you. Like, you get the conservatives, you get them on as the liberals. But it was interesting during the election, and this is why I always hopping back to Obama and why he's so special. Obama was able to take the conservative black that always thrown in the monkey wrench, is happy, really doesn't care about the black that's on the borderline of poverty, or the one just above it, or the one doing well, or the one that's almost into the middle class but not quite there yet. And by the way, they're just trying to do away with the middle class period, the government, the way it's situated right now. But the whole thing is, I go back to this, I go back to the social sharing part. And this is what Obama's about. This is what makes him special. And he had those conservative blacks voting for him, because it was a landslide, because it was record numbers of blacks at the polls. It was the most blacks ever voted in the history of the election since they were able to vote, had the right to vote here in America. So the numbers are there. It's just about who's in place, how do you bring these people together? I don't look at it as like blacks against blacks. I never did look at it like that. It's about us connecting. We need to start socializing, meeting the conservatives, the moderates, the liberals, because they're being attacked too as well, because they got to know this, that their underwear is still tainted with slavery. And there's a point in business when they're dealing, whether they have their own business, their own 3 swimming pools or not, that they're going to be booted in the ass of reality, that when a situation comes up, when they want to be told, the total power broker, that there's going to be a modulation factor, that the key factors involved will slap them and let them know, and then they come down. And that usually is the wake-up call for them to realize, hey, look, I'm considered just like you. It's about class. It's really not even about race. And my class has been attacked. So now I'm back with you again.
I don't know. I kind of disagree.
Yeah.
Because I think what basically happens is when the quote-unquote well-to-do black, when something happens to them, they just say, see how black people are? I'm getting blamed because of what other black people do. It's almost as if they are not black, because now they are on a certain financial status. So they're on a whole nother level. So then they blame black people no different than white people blame black people.
I think that from my view of watching a citizen here, I mean, it doesn't matter from which group, like Black, Spanish, Asia, all the American citizens have 2 characters. One is freedom, liberty. Another one is individualism. Yeah. So these 2 characters that you cannot really find in only Chinese people or other people. So I think that this is really, like, that's something that we need to learn.
Yeah, well, it's the freedoms. It's everybody has their freedom or right to choose. you know, what class they want to belong to, what their politics are. That's what makes it beautiful. But there comes a point to reality when you see people suffering. This is what really hurts my heart the most. I don't care if someone's a conservative, moderate. I'm a liberal anyway. I'm an ultra liberal. So I don't care. You know, I let it be known. Everybody been watching me for years, producing programs. If you can't tell I'm a liberal, there's something wrong upstairs. And this is my point. And is that the whole thing is like this: that we're all one people. And when people are suffering, people have AIDS, people are homeless, people are doing this, they have addiction problems, everything else, you just don't walk by them. You just don't take the little bit of money to supplement programs that they're under, government funded, by the way, programs that they're under, so it's necessary. And I'm glad the way that the government does step up and help these people, because when you look at it, there was no retribution from slavery. And then people were never given the 6 acres and the mule. They were never given that stuff. So some of these programs here, even though they're so minute and they're so meaningless in comparison to what they really should have got from America, like the Indians got the casinos, they got the land and everything. It was like when the blacks spoke up about getting the 6 acres of land and the mule, it was like they're from another planet. Why are you asking for anything? Why are you asking for anything? You know, because we built America. Because we were the indentured slaves, along with the Asians, the Japanese who built the railroad. We built America, and the American Indian who you slaughtered and ran out. And now you give casinos and land to. So the programs, when I hear the conservatives, Doreen, they talk about, I'm going to cut this social program, I'm going to take this. It's like going into me, it's like going into a hospital. Somebody's on life support. And because they're 80 years old, but they can live on this support for 4 years, and you just take the cord and just cut it.
Yeah.
This is when I draw the line. This is when you may see me become the ultra-liberal, the guy who wants to save the world, that sees the world with the glass half full.
Well, my basic question that I've been asking a lot of people, and not too many people have been able to answer me, is once you do cut the programs, then what? What are you going to do with the people who the programs you're cutting? You're going to make them more poor. You've got to help them, or else we're going to be worse than the 20s. With depression, because we're going to just be walking around the streets and see children and mothers and husbands and everybody just lying in the street.
And what about the crime rate?
Well, obviously from the past couple of weeks, the crime rate is up because you're talking Woburn, you're talking Burlington, you're talking Roxbury, and all three things are happening in those same places. So, you know, we can now no longer look and say, oh my God, it's happening in the poor community, because neither Burlington nor Woburn is supposed to be considered the poor community. So crime is definitely up.
Unbelievable. It really is up. Doreen Wade, CEO, president of New England Informer magazine, always valued strong opinions. That's why she's here. And that's why I'm glad you're happy that you're a friend of the show.
Oh, anytime.
You know, and then to have you come in and
Anytime.
everything, it's a beautiful thing to have somebody so articulate, you know, and it speaks their own mind and has their own opinion. That's why I tell people at home that are watching the show, Doreen, come into a monthly orientation, have your own show, give your own opinion. It's my opinion, it's her opinion, and it's Sissy's opinion. And sometimes we allow Kent to even have an opinion.
That's right.
You know?
If you have any opinion, right, you
It's
can
her-
always contact to us, right? You can always send email to us, like ccr@cambridge@gmail.com.
Yeah, that'd be a beautiful thing. Just try that, ccrcambridge@gmail.com.
Yes.
And my friends, we thank you too for your support with YouTube. 4 months, almost 900 hits.
Yes.
Unbelievable. And this is a lady engineering the whole thing. She's phenomenal. We fight off camera, but when we come on, it's like music. You know, it's beautiful. It really is, because I could be a real, you know what, off camera, but when we come together, but you see Sissy's story on the phone, when we communicate, you know, because we got to come together with a form, and I keep it real strong. And Sissy, I tell her, Sissy, we're going through a phone. She fights me like hell on the phone. That's what I tell you. And I get so frustrated, I hang the phone up and I go for like a 5-mile walk.
Well, I hope you two do keep arguing, because I'll take her.
Oh yeah, no
She
question.
can come work for
But you know
any
something?
informer any day.
And then I explain.
It's the same.